Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, pick
Jared Brandon Wild pickups.
Thank you, Jared. Hey, everybody. This is Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled that you are listening to our show with us. It's like you're here, but you're not. But we can feel you, all of you. It's like we're all holding... No, we can't do that. We can't hold hands.
No. Social distancing,
we are all
please.
6 feet apart
That's
from
right.
each other in this guitar universe.
We're at least 6 feet apart.
Yeah. So we've got a very special guest on the line, as per usual, who we're going to introduce in just a quick second. But, well, heck, let's just do it right now, real quick. Who's on the line?
Hey guys, it's me, Jesse. I'm from rudetech.com.
Oh, hey, Jesse from rudetech.com. What are you doing here?
Nothing. I'm just going to talk pedals.
Yes.
He's actually in the back room making hot dogs for all of us. Tony, Tony's having a grounding issue for everybody. Just in case anybody hears anything that
If you hear
sounds
this,
like sizzling bacon, it's that his
Making me hungry.
his audio input it has a bad ground, so he's got to put his finger on it or some part of his self on it so that we have a clear
it's just my
signal.
finger.
Okay.
It's perfectly
Clear.
Todd, what do we do on this show?
Well, I was just about to ask you, Tony, what do we do on this show?
Well, we like to talk about gear and the people who make this gear, specifically boutique gear. And by gear, do you know what I mean, Todd?
Yes.
You'd understand. Jared, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And I like the one-on-ones.
So I don't have to say what it means. No, I'm going to say it anyhow. So we're talking to people who make guitars and amps and pedals and accessories. And occasionally, as Jared so eloquently put, we do a 101 episode. And that means that we talk in depth about a specific thing that bugs us all.
We learn stuff.
Yeah,
And we learn
but
stuff.
tonight we're not doing that. We're talking to Jesse from Rude Tech, who makes awesome pedals. And
Thank you.
yeah, we're going to dig into that. For those following along with their mobile phone or computer, where can people find you or see what you're doing right now?
Probably the easiest way is my Instagram. Go to rude_tech, RUDE_TECH, and send me a DM or whatever, and we'll talk. Honestly, I'm more responsive there than I am to my email.
It's true, isn't it, right? I mean...
Yeah.
Myself as well. So, gentlemen, we got a couple of announcements real quick I want to get to. We need to thank Rode Mics. Well, that was kind of weak. Do it again. There we go. Right. So we want to thank them for providing us the Rodecaster Pro, which we gave away.
It's yummy.
Which is, I'm so thrilled about that.
What are we recording on if we gave it away?
Saw it.
Oh,
I
that's
saw
true.
that you gave it away.
Yes, and that was a couple weeks ago by the time you're hearing this, but it doesn't matter. I'm still happy about that. And it's going to a good home. And from what I hear, there's going to be a bass podcast coming out.
Yeah, I was going to say, the dude's
that's
making
cool.
a podcast for bass only. I'm so stoked on that.
Very
Wow.
cool, huh?
I'm glad that went to him.
Yes, I am too. Because there was like, I don't know, like 400 or so. I don't know. Can't remember how many. I'm just shocked at how many people do it wrong. There's instructions. And yes, and people, I don't know if they get excited and just enter, or they don't think about it, or there were several people that tried to be funny about it and entered like tons of times. But anyways, I digress. We also want to
I wanted to start an accordion-only podcast.
Yeah, I want to be on that.
You could call it Accordion to Tony.
Yeah, I mean, how many times can you interview Weird Al, though?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That is true.
We need to also thank Rode, because that's who we're still talking about. We need to thank them.
We are?
Yeah, we need to thank them for the Procaster microphones, which are super duper awesome. And we're just really grateful for their support. I also have a patron 4 on the floor from one of our executive producers.
Hey,
James Pennington sent us his 4 on the floor. He says, right now, it is the Earthquaker Devices Afterneath. Great name for a pedal. The Earthquaker Devices Cloven Hoof. The Idiot Box Effects No Moon, It's a Killer Pedal. No, that's not the whole name. I was just reading. I'm like Ron Burgundy right there. It's just called No Moon. I literally burgundied. I love it. That's exciting. And then last, the Stone Deaf Warp Drive. That sounds like a pretty fun board, man. I know, Todd sure does. Yes, you guys are right. It is.
Todd, you guys sounded great, Todd.
we're awesome.
Oh, boy. Ladies and gentlemen.
I like the fact that there are two of Akron's finest at the leading part of that discussion.
Yeah, that's kind of, well, I mean, they make a
Two Earthquakers.
lot of pedals.
They do. They really
wonder
do.
who might have more pedals at this point, like legitimately. Would it be JHS, Earthquaker, or EHX? We know it's not going to be Boss because Boss just has a billion, but
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
in terms of boutique builder,
it's up there.
And then do you count versions?
I don't
like
think
how many
you can
times
count
they've
versions.
redone
because
the Holy
EHX
Grail.
would win that by a mile. I think you have to count like what is it? No versions, just model. Somebody go figure that out. We all have time, so somebody just do it. It can't be me.
I don't know. I'm a
have any more
scientist and
time.
I do not want to do that math.
Well, that's a very interesting segue. Can you just really briefly tell us, like, what are you a scientist of?
Well, I'm an electrical engineer. I built my first guitar pedal when I was a kid at like 12. And it kind of set into motion me learning all about electronics. And then I got my electrical engineering degree. And then yada, yada, yada. I became a rocket scientist and then quit that to do pedals full time. The end.
So you're actually a rocket
are you
scientist?
literally a rocket scientist?
Not anymore.
But you were.
But you were.
Yeah. Well, I was working at an aerospace testing complex, and we would, I would like design tests for whatever the test article was from, let's say, GE or Pratt & Whitney or whoever. So it would be like a turbine engine or a rocket engine or whatever, and we would hook it up in these test cells and run a bunch of tests on it for millions and millions of dollars and just pray we didn't break anything, which we did a lot.
So what you're actually saying is building pedals is indeed rocket science.
I mean, honestly, I'm doing way more engineering now that I'm just doing pedals. Because, I mean, at that job, a lot of it was purchasing, designing a system, and then you have to like spend a week drawing out it so that you could send the information to ETs or ITs so that they could like build the thing that you had designed. So, I mean, now it's just me. So everything I do is just, okay, I can engineer this. All right, engineer this. All right, I do a little bit of parts ordering, and then I can get right back into it and learn much more electronics and stuff.
Interesting.
That's very cool.
Hey, everybody, why don't we get into what's going on in our music world this week? Tony's going to lead us off, and then we will hear from Jesse.
Okay. So in my music world this week, I am shocked. Like today at the shop, I was only in for a couple of hours, but I had to do some painting, and this was not the best day to shoot lacquer. But so if I sound a little bit crazy, it's because I had like 10 sets of Rickenbacker guards that needed to be shot in gold, and needless to say, that kind of I mean, the good thing about it is it kills the mice that inhabit my shop from time to time, but I think in some small way it's probably killing me too.
Maybe.
But no, it's really it's strange how I really can't explain it, but it seems like every it cycles through and all of a sudden I get this pile of in 1 week's time all these orders for essentially the same type of guard come through. And there's just no rhyme or reason to it. It's just, it happens. So I don't know if people are saying, well, I'm going to order a set of Rickenbacker guards from Pick Guardian. How about you? And, suddenly 10 people do that. It's just crazy. So I've been busy.
Weird.
That's cool.
I might
busy
look
doing
into your
that.
Google Analytics and see if there's like if they're all coming from the same source in your Google Analytics, and see if maybe a blog mentioned you or something.
That's possible. The same thing. This is crazy. So last week, it was I sell like vintage style Rickenbacker knobs. So they're like they're essentially the same type of knob you'd find on like a jazz bass, with a little small knob, but it's a set of 4 big ones and 1 small one. And there was one order that came in, and then literally within a day or two, 5 more orders came in for those. So it's just, as long as I've been doing this, it always seems to happen in that way. And it could be something people are indeed discussing, what they're ordering on various blogs or whatever. I don't know, but I'm happy that they are.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. It's the best problem ever.
Thank you, Tony. Let's go over to Jesse from Rude Tech right now.
In my musical world, I made a promise in 2020. I was only going to play bass guitar. And so last week I was just, it's quarantine, going a little bit crazy. All I did was learn meme songs on bass guitar, like, Mario and that coffin dance, that coffin meme that's been going around. I learned the music to it.
Okay, so if anybody doesn't know what describe the coffin meme.
All right, so it's this funeral in Ghana, and these guys in suits, white gloves, they're just dancing. They're going crazy on the ground, in the air, spinning around with a coffin, and it's a funeral in Ghana.
It's like the funeral procession through the streets kind of thing. Yeah.
And people set it to this crazy ass music, so I learned the music.
And the funny thing, at least I think it's funny, although sometimes I can't. I have to move my thumb over what I'm seeing because it's sometimes it can be disturbing. But the whole point of the coffin dance is like you see the coffin guys because it's one of those like people failing or disaster.
Yeah, I hate
things.
that part. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Anytime you
Do
see
I want to
a
watch
kid
it? I
on
just
a
want to get to
BMX
the
bike,
dancing part.
don't look.
Yeah.
And then as soon as
dude,
they put the coffin guys dancing like right when the bad part is supposed to happen, and it is like first time I saw that I remember just laughing out loud. Just yes, this is brilliant.
and it's like a relief to see it because usually they cut out the big slam. So like right before something bad happens, they just cut to the guys dancing with the coffin.
Yes, thankfully, because then you can. Yeah, I don't have to constantly cover up my thumb. Boy, well, that's kind of
like
fun.
You use your thumb on the E string.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of it personally.
Yeah, well, I would be, but both my thumbs have been moved to my pinky area. So
we had the thumb discussion a few weeks ago.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
All right, Jared, what's going on with you, buddy?
So part 300 of the story about me getting back together with a really good friend of mine and working on projects through GarageBand, recording new songs and old songs that we did well over, a quarter of a decade or a quarter of a century ago. Mm-hmm. So I got all my stuff going and it's working really well.
That ties in with your pickups. You have old pickups that look new and new pickups that look old,
and old pickups that look old and old pickups that look new.
That's right.
It all comes full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah. Push it out, man. Push it for me. No, but we've been working on stuff. It's so great because I'll lay down some lead lines and I'll do like 3 or 4 of them. And then the next day I'll come back and check and he picked out the better one because he'll have erased the other 3. And then he'll tweak this, he'll tweak that, he'll ask me about this or that. And I've never had so much fun. It's so easier to do that rather than having to get together at a house and spending all the time, putting that together and annoying people with loud amps and stuff. This is done with headphones. So it's really, really modern compared to, when we all started when we were kids.
I
We had
still
loud
do it
amps.
the old-fashioned way. Dang it!
Of course you do. But now that we're all secluded in our homes, we don't have a choice for the most part. And that's the way we're doing. I mean, he's 2.5 hours away, so it's not like we'd be getting together every day anyway. So
Yeah, that's great.
so that's up and going, and it's I'm using a lot of guitars that I usually don't get out. So it's gotten me going. It's gotten me playing better. And I needed something like this to kind of give me a kick in the butt to play more and get the rust off. So I guess that's the end of that. That's the end of that story right there, because it's a happy ending. So.
Yeah.
When are we going to hear the finished products?
That's up to him mainly.
Very cool.
When he thinks they're done, he'll put them on YouTube, and I'll give you guys similar links.
There you go.
All right.
How about you, Todd?
And a
sorry.
bonus. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep going. And
Just
a
keep
bonus, just for nostalgic wise, I got out the old VHS tapes and cassette tapes, and I found a bunch of our stuff that we did, back in the mid '90s. I put some of that on YouTube without their permission. So whether it's embarrassing or not, I don't know.
Awesome.
Fancy.
And everybody can go look at that.
How about
Yeah,
you,
and
Todd?
laugh.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
not.
Tony,
I'm not going to introduce.
I'm
not going to. No, forget it. Forget it.
I'm gonna
You
take
guys had
Tony's cue.
that's 2 times.
I'm listening to you, Tony.
I'm not going to even talk anymore.
Okay. For me, so one of my absolute favorite bands, I still love listening to is The Smiths. And I followed Johnny Marr on the old Instagram and stuff, and he's been doing something kind of cool, like just playing through some of his songs, and these are like epic, timeless rock songs that just are done by a master. And one of my favorites, which is actually, this is a little known fact, I'm just spilling this on the world right now, my shower song. Okay, I have I have a shower song. Everybody's got everybody's got a shower song.
I've got like 2 or 3 that are in rotation, heavy rotation.
Mine for years and years has been Cemetery Gates. Not by Lamb of God, but by the Smiths. And so he was saying, so he asked people what they want him to do, and so he's just out like in his backyard with an acoustic guitar, and he says, somebody asked me to play through, meaning play it, and then kind of show how he's doing it a little bit. Cemetery Gates, and I was just so happy about that. And then so I immediately grabbed my acoustic guitar, and I'm like, well, I gotta do this too. And so it was kind of fun, just like I'm playing along with Johnny Marr, and I was like, this is really neat. He's in his backyard, I'm not in his backyard. That would be weird or awesome.
Were you in the shower?
I was not in the shower, although I it put me back in the shower mentally. But so anyways, but what was really interesting about that particular one is it also made me think that there are many trackings of him playing that song in the actual song in different positions on the actual fretboard. So he's not just playing, GCD up in the cowboy area over and over again. He's playing it in many different places. Those chords on the neck, and that's kind of some of the magic of what they do, and so that just kind of made me want to go, well, heck, I need to learn. I want to learn more about this and this kind of way of playing. So, anyways, pretty fun.
Huh.
So
Did you get
I want to
that?
see that.
Did you get that link I sent you to Jonesy's Jukebox? Speaking of people singing in showers.
Yes. When I left California, Jonesy was maybe about a year, maybe 2 years into his station on KROQ. And he's obviously a very entertaining character. That's Steve Jones from Sex Pistols.
Yes.
And
But there was on, if you go to the website, there's actually some recent stuff of him. he is in the shower playing an acoustic guitar.
yeah,
There's at least a couple
where he
of
does
cuts of
all
that.
that stuff. Because I guess
It's
he just
great.
gets the best tone in there. He's a funny chap, that man.
Yes. He is.
Anyways, speaking of funny chaps,
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
all right, Jesse from Rude Tech. Let's hear 4 on the floor.
Okay, so I love the show, and I really have more fun when people have like a theme to their 4 on the floor. So mine is the pedals that I first became aware of when I was in high school and first like learning that pedals could change my sound, whatever. So the very first pedal that I would choose for my board is the Boss OS2. It's that overdrive distortion. And the reason I'm picking that, you like blend between an overdrive and a distortion signal. And that blew my mind. I was like, what the? It sounds so totally different than just like a DS1 or something like that. But the reason that I first got that pedal from Mars Music, by the way, was because there is this band in Nashville called Silent Friction, and the lead singer, Matt, he had that pedal. So the guitarist in my ska band, he got that pedal too because that's what Silent Friction played. And I listened to it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And of course I had to run to Mars Music, and that was my very first pedal, Boss OS2. I still play it to this day.
Did
And it
you
kinda
clear your
reminds me-
throat right before you said ska? That's required by ska
Yes.
musicians, right?
We're going to have to cut that entire part out because that's a liability. I can't have anybody knowing that I was in a one of those bands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super dope, and it reminds me of the Empress. Oh my gosh, I'm going to screw this up. What was it called? The multi-drive? Is that right? It's an Empress pedal that has a fuzz and an overdrive and a distortion all mixed together, and you can like blend them all. Steve Bragg, incidentally, was one of the first people that gave me advice when I was starting up Rude Tech. And
Oh, wow.
I sent him an email out of the blue in like 2011 or something like that. But yeah, he sent me this huge email back giving me all this advice. And I was like, oh my God, he spent way too much time on a guy that he doesn't know from Adam. But yeah, that was super cool.
That's awesome. That is one
Yeah, right?
smart dude. He's,
Like I've met
wow.
so many pedal people and I've never met him. I've only exchanged emails with him. Mm-hmm. But my next pedal is also going to be a distortion. It's the DOD Attacker. I got this pedal from Nashville Used Music in either 1999 or 2000. And what I really like about it has like a little onboard compression knob. It's not a fantastic compressor, but when I was playing it, I was like, whoa, I'm way better than I thought I was. Man, I'm really good. This is great. And I didn't know why. And it's because it has that compressor on board. But I really, really liked it years later because I saw a video of Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo. You know how he has that Stratocaster that he duct tapes a bunch of pedals like a ring mod and a distortion to it. Mm-hmm. And that pedal was taped to one of the horns of his Stratocaster. I was like, oh my God, my pedal's even cooler than I thought it was. I thought it was just some $25 thing that I got from Nashville Used Music, but now I know it's really cool.
I don't know if
But it doesn't sound great.
I don't know if everyone knows this. Sometimes people are surprised to hear this. I don't know if they know it, but Mark Mothersbaugh does from Devo. So he's the guy with the glasses in the Devo. has done all of the Wes Anderson music. I think
Dude,
pretty
he
much
did
all of it.
all the music for Tiger King.
He did. I didn't
Isn't
know
that crazy?
that. Yeah, I did not know that. But
Yeah, well, between him and Danny Elfman, I think they
know,
have
right?
the
No kidding.
monopoly on movie soundtracks.
yeah, and they were both fighting for the charts at the same time too. That's pretty cool. Anyways, okay.
Yeah, there's an interview of him. He did a Mountain Dew commercial back in like the early 90s and like put a bunch of subliminal messages about how consumerism is destroying America and stuff in a commercial.
I love it.
And they listened to it and they loved it. And they're like, oh, yeah, I hear in the background, buy Mountain Dew, buy Mountain Dew. And I was like, no, that's not what it says at all. But he didn't correct them.
Genius.
I know,
Genius.
right?
So speaking of genius, what do you got for number 3 here?
All right, number 3 is a Boss PH2 Super Phaser. I like this. I first saw this because in my first band ever, I was a freshman and I was in a band with some of the seniors in high school. And Matt, the dude who was a senior, played this phaser, and I was like, holy crap, this is the first effect that I've heard that wasn't like a drive or anything, and got to hear and play with it in person right there. And it was like swirling around. I was like, this is blowing my mind. This is bizarre. And it's just a simple phaser. I mean, there's so many pedals now that'll do so much crazier stuff. But I mean, it blew my mind at the time. But I really like that one because it's one of the Boss phasers that's still back analog before they switched it over to digital. And sounds great. Sounds amazing even today.
Phasers are weird
number 4
that way when you were just like, just like, I'm so glad phasers have evolved so that it isn't just, you just turn it on and you're like, well, there's a phaser.
Yeah. They have one that Boss did one where it was like a tap for the speed of the phaser. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that was definitely a digital one.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. How about number 4?
All right, number 4. This one's out of high school, but I used to do repairs for East Side Music here in East Nashville, and I would repair every pedal you could think of. And I remember just noticing some of them were like, man, why would you ever build a pedal this way? It's going to break when you, say, solder the foot switch directly to the PCB and then have the pots mounted to the face of the pedal. It's going to flex slightly over and over and break eventually. My pedal is the Diamond Memory Lane, and that thing is built like a tank. I opened it up and I was like, oh my God, this is designed to never break, ever. Like if I saw a real beat up, scratched up memory lane on Reverb, let's say, and somebody was like, yeah, man, I don't even know if it works. Haven't plugged it in. It's really trashed. Offer what you want. I would, offer anything in a heartbeat just because I know for a fact that pedal is going to play. And I try to design my pedals nowadays to be, super hardened and super, super rugged. And I take a lot of cues from just opening up that first memory lane, being like, oh, people can make really smart design decisions. I really like this.
That's awesome. That's good to have a good inspiration like that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that one before.
Dude, it's great. I think it was, don't quote me on this, but I think it was the first delay to have tap tempo.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that either. I mean, I know Diamond makes a heck of a compressor. I mean, they're
big time
famous for that one. We talked to them at NAMM, and they said, yeah, we'll come on the show. Crickets. Hello, Diamond. Call us back. So
I was so impressed by it.
Well, awesome, man. That sounds like a really cool group of pedals. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm
got
not
a little
disappointed.
drive, got a little modulation, got a little delay.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good indeed. All right. Before we jump into the interview, I just wanted to give a big fat shout out to our pal John Fiddle. You've heard us talk about him before. We're going to keep talking about him because we're using his studio, and we want to give props over there. So,
How's John doing these days?
John is hanging in there by a thread, if I'm perfectly honest. The music industry, as we discussed with Drew this last episode, has hit him pretty hard too. So, but he's some of the stuff that's keeping him afloat is what he does on in addition to recording bands and stuff. Anyway, so he does a heck of a job at recording, engineering, mixing, mastering your type of music, which is guitar type of music, because you're listening to a guitar podcast. That's how I know that. I'm not just reading your mind. He's a guitar player himself, and he is super, super into tone and has worked wonders with many bands, including my own. And you can find him at johnfintel.com, Jon Fintel.com, and at Relay Recording. So, thanks, John. Now, Jesse from Rude Tech, let's... now, how did you come up with this name, Rude Tech?
So, I was... my last name is Rue. Don't tell anybody, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But nobody can spell it. And I think it's Welsh, or I have no idea. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I also was working at this aerospace testing complex at the time as a rocket scientist. And they were very adamant that you don't moonlight. And I wasn't like... I mean, we were on 13-hour test schedules going from like 3 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Wow.
And yeah, it was crazy. So, of course, they didn't want you having a job outside of your normal job because, I mean, that could violate OSHA guidelines or whatever. But, you know, I wasn't staying up into the wee hours of the night soldering pedals and stuff. I was just, you know, talking on forums, or, you know, it's Nashville. So like a session musician would say he wanted a clone of a certain pedal, but with a certain feature. So like I wasn't spending a ton of time on it. But I called it RUDE because, let's all be fair, the 90s happened and we all agreed that ska was the greatest music of all time. That's done. You know.
Specials are still one of my absolute all-time favorite. I know they happened to just before that, but that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a documentary. It was like a Trojan Records documentary of the Specials talking about how
so good,
like Ghost Town, and how they're just breaking up when Ghost Town was happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Rude Tech. I didn't want my last name to show up because I got a really unique last name. I don't want anybody to Google me and find out that I was moonlighting.
How do you actually spell your last name in Welsh? I'm curious here.
It's probably with a bunch of runes. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's spelled RHEW in English, but it's probably just scratchings on a clay tablet is how you truly spell it. I don't know.
I see. Pronounced Charday. Okay. Got it. Oldie but a goodie. I love that one. Anyways. All right. So we got through that one. That was a big, big question. And I know everyone can sleep well tonight knowing how Rude Tech got its name. You've already established that you were a rocket scientist and a lover of science and mechanics and engineering and all that stuff. You could go many, many ways with that. You're solidly sitting in the realm of guitar pedals. You have one out right now that you have managed to splatter pretty well across Instagram. Why don't we just talk about that one really quick so everybody has an idea of what you're doing? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the, and I'm realizing now that I've never pronounced the name out loud. So it's called the 3 Muff 14, I guess is how you pronounce it.
What's that?
It's pronounced Charday.
I would say it's the 3 Mu F14.
It's the 3 Mu F14, F-14. I mean, who knows? You could be right. I don't know. But it's the idea is that it's 3 muff pedals in one. I actually designed it for Jake from Jeff the Brotherhood. Some guy designed a muff that he really loved, and it was just his sound through all the albums. And it just, over tour, just started dying because it was built by a 16-year-old that was a fan of theirs.
Oh, wow.
So I built a muff that had his muff in it, a muff that I wanted, which was the green muff, and then like a Civil War muff. So you can switch between the different versions of the circuit on the fly. And I didn't typically play muffs a lot because I don't really like the mid cut on them. Mm-hmm. And somebody told me the trick. I think it was, man, I forget who told me this, but you run a muff into an overdrive, set the tone kind of high, and it evens out all the mid notch that a muff has. Yeah. Just evens things out, and it sounds great. Sounds real creamy. So I built a creamy. I hate it when people talk about their tone. Oh, it's real creamy. It's real smooth. It's got a little crunch to it. It's got a little crackle. I don't know. But I built in a overdrive. Yeah, crispy. It's sibilant. But I designed a tone circuit for an overdrive that perfectly matches with the mid scoop of a muff, and then just tacked it onto the end and put it on a second foot switch. So it's one pedal, but like 2 pedals that you can kick on. And then I made everything look like, I'm trying to draw from what's my background and my branding. What's it going to be? I have no idea. And I put, it's going to look like the cockpit controls of a MiG jet. And that's where the name comes from. It's supposed to be like a MiG-29 or something like that. So it's the 3 muff, because there's 3 muffs in it. 14. Oh, the 3 and the 14 is like a pie. So.
Clever.
Yeah.
Nice. So
well, it can't be too clever if I have to explain it to everybody.
Well, like it's 3 and it's also got a 14.
Yeah, no, but like think about it.
But then it's
you guys get it.
I like
from a MiG fighter.
I like mine better.
Why don't you understand this?
I like apple pie.
I like Mew.
Vanilla.
Yes, the 3 Mew.
Yeah.
F-14.
So, the looks of this thing, I mean, it's really cool. You get this in your hand, you're like, oh, this is really something. Because let's be honest, anytime we've seen anybody in a cockpit sitting there flipping all the switches and stuff, the cool thing about all the switches, it's not so much that they're switches. It's like when you got to flip the red lever up to then click the switch, it's like, oh, what's that going to do?
And it like snaps into place.
Right. So yours have the little switch guards. What do you call those things? Switch guards?
Yeah, just toggle guards, switch guards. Those are actually made by those are the same toggle guards that are in the Batmobile in like movies and stuff.
Wow.
It's this company that makes airplane control panels in Connecticut or something like that. I think it's like Perihelion Designs or something. But they supply AV for movies and stuff. So when they were designing control panels for the Batmobile, of course, those are the guards that they ordered.
How about that?
Yeah, I only found that out like a month ago.
So you got that's turning into quite a special pedal, even for those who haven't even heard it. It's like there's a lot going into this thing here.
Well, I have to say that I really enjoyed this pedal, and normally I'm not a big fan of the muffy kind of things and fuzzy kinds of things, but with the rig that I tested it with, I just loved just about every sound that came out of it.
Wow, thank you.
Tell them about your rig real quick, what you used it on, because I think that it says a lot. Yeah.
So I was using, it is a Strat body, basically an Esquire. It's got telly bridge, single pickup, but it's a super hot single coil bridge pickup. And I was running that into Vox AC-50 hand wire. It has Celestian blue. So it's
that's one of the loudest amps I've ever heard.
Well, for a 15-watt amp, yeah, it's incredibly loud. But that's kind of, I know what that amp sounds like, so that's what I usually test most of the pedals and things on. And it just sounded great. And the thing that I liked about the pedal is a lot of times, we'll get some, overdrives, muffs, fuzzes, whatever, that tend to just clip on the treble frequencies. And to me, that's just painful. And the Vox itself is a relatively bright amp. So, this just really, I think it boosted out the mids maybe a little bit more. And maybe, I don't know how you have the EQ set on it, but it seemed to, maybe tame out the high end a little bit too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you for saying that. There are even tone knobs for the mids drive. If you open up the pedal, you can switch out the clipping stage transistors, switch out the op amp for the mids drive. There are two little trim pots where you can make the mids drive really, really high and then change the tone of it. So if you want to saturate the overdrive part, I think that's overkill, but who knows? Somebody in a doom band might want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the one thing I didn't notice a lot of difference on were the three, what do we call them? Yeah, the three versions. I could definitely hear some, but it's not as severe maybe as I was expecting.
Yeah, it was the black version, I think, is a little tighter, if I had to describe it. It's like the 90s black New York muff kind of one. And then the Civil War one, I think it has a little bit better bass response. And the green one has just very slightly higher output on the very last stage.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really subtle differences, though. But sometimes, I want to sound like David Gilmour right now, so I'm going to switch it to Civil War mode or something like that. Or I want to sound like Sleep, talk about stone or metal or something. So I'm going to switch it to the green mode.
I think what you're running it into as well, that's something that I experienced, switching them around and skipping. So if I have one overdrive that comes after that, and I'm on Civil War, but I turn that overdrive off and I let it go to another one, it sounds very different. Also because it's going into a totally different pedal, being able to switch that up front provides so many awesome combinations. Well, fortunately, you can tell these ones apart. They're not that close as to you have to be a cork sniffer to understand this. Now, Tony, I thought that you told me also that you ran it through your Moz. Is that?
No, that was the gentleman pedal.
Oh,
that I was running through because I couldn't get my Vox to clip enough to test that one out.
Gotcha.
So I did not try this one through the other amp because I was happy with the way it sounded in the Vox.
Yeah, cool. Now, so that one has got you going right now. I'm assuming that's keeping you pretty busy.
Yeah, that's kind of my. I've been doing Rude Tech for a long time, but it was all. I had the Chorus for a really long time. That was my first mass-produced pedal. Everything else, I'm here in Nashville, was like a one-off thing for a session musician or a particular studio. I've got 2 signals that I need to mix in a certain way, and I just do one-off design. Mm-hmm. The 3 Muff is kind of like a brand relaunch for me. So I was, getting more into mass-producing products, and I was going to release some stuff at Summer NAMM, but now that's not happening.
Nope.
Yeah, right. I was going to do a collaboration with another pedal company and a guitar company, and it was like, I'm so stoked to have my name next to these guys. Like, how amazing would that be for me? But
I've got some good news for you.
Oh, hit me.
I got my refund today for investing in
Why?
They paid me back.
So it's more really good news for you.
Yeah, I know, but it is good news.
Thanks, Jared. So
no, it does suck, man. It sucks not having Nom this year. It was kind of like it hit home when they did refund the funds that I had already invested.
That makes it official.
It hurt. It was like I'd rather have NAMM,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you disclose any of these special things you were doing? You
No.
don't have to, but that's okay. Yeah.
It might happen someday, but I was planning to release a couple new pedals, and I'll probably just do it as soon as they're done. So again, I mean, if you want to find out about those, Instagram, Rude Tech is my Instagram, Rude_Tech. But I'll probably, as soon as they're ready to go, I'll probably be like, all right, we've got 1 week countdown before it's launched. So
Gotcha.
not as fun as
people
having
are
a
on it
booth.
now. They're
Yeah.
on Instagram now more than ever.
They really are. They really are. I mean, I know I am.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, one day or a few days I was slow in sales, so I went on Instagram, did about 3 or 4 posts, and the next couple of days I was super busy.
Yeah, Instagram has been the best marketing for me. Like I used to pay in my previous life, I was a e-commerce consultant for businesses. It was my most recent job, and like I would help them choose where they're going to put their ad spend. All right, what pop-ups are you going to put on your site so you make the ad spend go as far as possible so these people aren't just hitting the site and then disappearing forever? How are you going to retarget them? And I was doing all that stuff through Facebook, spending like $900 a month. And now every post on Instagram is totally free, and it works so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Now,
I said goodbye to Facebook a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's safe to say, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I don't know if it's true or not, so whatever. But I don't know if we would be in the state of boutique bliss that we would right now if it wasn't for Instagram. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know how else we'd find
I'm
out
gonna
about
agree
all
wholeheartedly,
these, the people like you. You can't. It just doesn't come up if you are on those other platforms back then. I think we all need to tip the hat to our pals who made up the Instagram. But
Yep.
Yeah.
so you still are making, though. You have the Ain't Afraid Fuzz and the Proto Chorus. You're still making those, right?
Yeah. No, the chorus I discontinued. That was actually part of. I will announce the next product that I was going to do. So I haven't told anybody about this, but I'm redesigning my chorus, and I was going to have a new chorus relaunch. Probably do like a metal faceplate on it to keep the brand aesthetic going, and that was going to be my big launch at NAMM. But now it'll just, as soon as it's done, I'm just going to launch it.
Awesome.
But yeah, I was going to relaunch the chorus. The Ain't Afraid Fuzz is actually a charity pedal that I do. I had a friend who had cervical cancer, and she started
Oh my gosh.
this little charity, and it, they sold T-shirts, they did special shows and stuff, and it raised a bunch of money for it's youth empowerment through arts and humanities, and they teach kids camps every summer. So kids from like 7 to 17. And the first week they'll do an all-girls one, and they'll go to different cities. And the next week they'll do a teens one. And this is the kids like learning for the first time about rock and roll. Maybe they've never picked up an instrument before. And it's cool to see because like they experiment with makeup and dressing weird, and like this is their week to be a rock star. It's super cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
But yeah, Jesse and I were camp counselors at those camps. But she eventually died of cervical cancer. She was in that band, Those Darlings. And her mom actually, like a year later, picked the charity up and started doing a bunch of crazy things with it. And now we're raising a ton of funds for cervical cancer awareness and partnering with Vanderbilt to teach classes and raising money for youth music education stuff. And I'll teach like soldering classes to kids that are 7 years old. It's crazy. They're way smarter than I am.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Can you teach Todd how to say the word soldering?
All right.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I can say it. Soldering.
Yes.
Soldering.
Charday. So, well, man, I'm so glad that you touched on that because it's good that people are out there doing it. Like I'm going to be, well, at this point in time, you will have heard about the small sound, big sound pedal that when we had Brian from Small Sound, Big Sound on earlier or later last year. In the middle of the show, we just started kicking around an idea for a pedal, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll make it." And I was like, huh, "Okay." Well, I finally got it. It showed up. Like, as I'm recording this right now, it showed up like 10 minutes before we got on, and I was like, out of my mind excited. And like a large portion of what he's doing is going to charity, and I'm always so impressed at our community, the guitar world community, at how instantly we are there to support other people. When Mike Trombley, our friend from Native Audio, got in his like horrible car accident, I mean, instantly it was like, boom, there's a fund to help out Mike Trombley. When the Australian fires happened, boom. I mean, they raised a whole bunch of money, like a ton of money for that. And causes all over the place that are needed to help the people in our community and others. So it's just really exciting to hear that kind of stuff. So thank you for doing that, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, can you tell us just really briefly, we're going to start easing out of this here segment, but what can we look for from you moving forward in the future after someone goes and gets one of these Therma14 distortion, the Therma 14, because it is an awesome pedal. I highly recommend you all go out there and get one of those. And after they do, what else can they maybe give us a little hint of what's coming beside your chorus?
So my background is in digital design and programming, and all my past jobs have been, like with the rocket scientist job, is more like signal clarity and things like that. So I really like focusing on modulation effects. So expect a lot of those from me. And I'm going to do a lot more stuff with microcontroller programming and pedals. So all the controls will be digital, and but I'll keep obviously the voices analog.
That's awesome. Well, man, that's very cool. We can't wait to see what you come up with, knowing that big old brain of yours is behind some awesome pedals.
Among other things.
Yes. All right. Jared.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's everyone's favorite part of the show. And I'm going to sing you a little jingle that goes like this. Would you rather? All right. This week's Would You Rather is fairly simple, but you're going to think about it for a minute. Would you rather keep the best guitar that you own now, or would you rather trade that in for the best guitar that you lost in the past or sold in the past that you really want back?
That's a pretty good one. All right. We're going to go around the horn here. That's a good one, Jared. Tony.
So I'm putting on my thinking cap. There are any number of guitars that I sometimes regret getting rid of. I'm trying to think if there's any that I would prefer over some of the ones that I have now.
It's not easy, is it?
No, it's not easy, because when you it's all kind of relative, because at the time, if you weren't using something, you just said, well, okay, I don't need this anymore. I think I am still going to keep. I'm going to keep my my I guess you'd call it best guitar that I have now, only because it was one that I wanted for so many years, and that would be the Rickenbacker 360-12 V64. So it's modeled after George Harrison's 12-string Rick, and I over the years I had tried to modify various like 330s and other things like that, and it was never quite right. And so one came available. Gosh, now I probably had it for about 10, 12 years at least, maybe longer. And that was the one that it was everything that I expected it to be. So I'm going with that. I'm gonna keep my best guitar now.
Okay, Jared.
Yeah, this is super tough. The one guitar that means a lot to me was my 1974 Gibson SG Standard that was in mint condition when I bought it in 1994. And I paid $500 whole dollars for it. That was a lot of money in 94, especially to a 16-year-old kid. I was at a gig with my band, and I set it on a surface, and a big light vibrated off and landed on it. I was not smart enough to put it in the case, so the neck snapped on it. It happened at the coffee shop that there were 3 bands playing at. We were headlining, and they had insurance companies, so they said, hey, you can turn this into the insurance. And I said, okay. So I gave the guitar to the insurance company, and they wrote me a check for $500.
Whoa.
And now the same guitar in mint condition, not broken, goes for about $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $2,000 to $3,000, somewhere in there. But after all that being said, I'm keeping my 62 SG Ebony block because that one's a lot more rare. Yeah, I'm keeping that one.
You just wanted to talk about your other guitar, goofball.
I did. Well, no, I had to think it through. But the one I have now, the 62 Ebony block, I'm keeping that. I can't get rid of that.
No.
They're very rare.
Yes. All right, Jesse, how about you?
All right, so I'm glad I didn't go first because I've been thinking about my answer this whole time, and I'm still not 100% sure I've got the right answer. But my guitar now, my best guitar now, is a Charvel SoCal, the one with the pick guard on the front.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I really wanted a, what do you call that? Variable radius neck or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Whatever. But there was my first guitar that I ever got that wasn't like my Squire little practice Stratocaster. It was a black Stratocaster made in Mexico from 1997, I think.
Nice.
I know. I was like, oh, it's made in Mexico. It's not the American one. It's cheap. I think it was $239. And I was like, oh, it's just the Mexican one, whatever. Put a few stickers on it that I really like.
They are.
Yeah, exactly. If I could find a Stratocaster made in Mexico in the 90s now, I'd be like, oh my God, I love it. I want it. Give it to me. But also the combination, it had a few stickers on it, like Aquabat stickers and like some weird like waste management stickers that I had found and put on there. I was like, man, if I could find that guitar again, would I trade my Charvel for it? I think I would. I think I'd go the guitar I lost.
All right. Well,
I don't blame you.
How about you, Todd?
Well, the only one that I ever had that was, I guess, worth much at all was a Gibson Les Paul Studio, which the only reason I'm even thinking about this is because my friend also has a Gibson Les Paul Studio, and we showed up to kind of jam together. After he was in a band for a while, I was in a band for a while. I'm like, hey, let's see if we can do something. And he pulls his out. I didn't even know that he had this. And he grabs the case, pulls it out, and it's the exact same color. It's the exact same guitar. I was like, wait, what? And he said, dude, let's check the numbers. They're consecutive numbers.
Whoa,
that's cool,
dude. What?
Yeah, consecutive numbers.
Did you buy it from the same place or something?
No, I bought mine used. He bought his used.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's random.
In the same city?
We lived in the same city. I don't remember where he got his, but I mean, it was just random. But
What are the
That's so
chances of that
weird.
happening, though?
zero
Slim
chance.
to none.
Yes.
Well, 0.00001.
So my consideration here was like, okay, do I get that back to give up one of mine? And no, I can't. I got to stick with my. I don't know if I don't know if I have a best guitar, but the one that I would say maybe would have replaced that Les Paul would be the Les Paul double cut that I have. So I love that guitar.
Keep it.
Yep. So I'm keeping mine.
Keeping
I'm
it.
keeping. Are we all keeping
keeping
ours?
it.
Everybody's
No,
keeping
I went
theirs.
for my one I lost.
You went for the one you lost. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, I went for that one.
Good. Well, maybe in a long time after I have some more guitars, because I don't have that many to be able to look in the past. But that was a good one. Anyways, it's good hearing your stories, you guys. All right, Tony Baloney.
I am.
We got a couple people to thank.
Every week we thank them. And they are our executive producers.
That's right.
Now, someone's probably out there saying, what is this executive producer love thing that I keep hearing about on the podcast? It's driving me nuts. I need to know how to become one.
Yep.
Here's what you do. You go over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs.
That's right.
Check out the various levels in which you can participate and become a patron of this very podcast. You get great stuff. There's t-shirts and barefoot buttons and picks and stickers and keychains and giveaways. Oh, don't forget
Big
the
juicy
giveaways. Oh my goodness. What was that big giveaway we just had, Todd?
A Roadcaster Pro.
A Roadcaster Pro. So there you go. Check it out.
Perfect.
Get in. Just do one of those levels. But there is a certain level, we call it the executive producers, that gets a very something special. In addition to all that great stuff, Jared, what happens?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Yes, it's read, not written, as
That's
we
right.
discussed this a week or two ago.
Thank you.
So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right now. So a very big thanks to these executive producers, Mr. Tom Barazin, Martin Cliff, John Daly, Chris Kearney, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Michael Van Zant, Ken Sayers, Brian Robison, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lamb, Johnny Knowles, Anthony Lathrop, John Anglin, Tyler Bray, Brad Partridge, Chris Heidel, John Esterly, Tim Nowak, Doug Gann, Justin Jones, Brett Alexander, James White, Matt Hart, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Mark Garten, and Steve Keys. Liam Martin from Bilgola Guitars. Oh, but wait. I almost forgot. There is
more?
There's more. There's even more. There's a special group of executive producers. They have a very secret handshake. We call them our grand poobahs. They have fezzes that they wear while listening to the podcast. It's a requirement. Those would be Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Cody Lane, Cody Foster, and Tommy Manasco. Thank you to each and every one of you guys. We really appreciate it. And if I didn't read your name and you participate on Patreon, we thank you as well.
And love
Yes. Thank you so very much at every level. And also, thank you for your patience in things going out. I've got a handful of reward packages that need to get out, and I am hoping to do so. So, apologies for the late sauce on that, but I promise all the goodies are coming. I swears it. Jesse, where can people find you and Rude Tech?
Yes, dog. Well, go to rudetech.com and definitely hit me up on Instagram, rude, RUDE _tech, TECH. And, send me a message, say hi, I don't care. And if you check out, you've made it this far. Come on, I got to give you something. If you check out at rudetech.com and use the code KNOBS, KNOBS, I'll give you 10% off. So
Nice.
I don't know why you've listened to me ramble this long, but you did it. I can't let you go away empty-handed.
I think they were waiting for me to do my announcements. I think that's why they waited that long.
No, waiting is the key part. That is awesome.
And if anyone needs to re-roll their sleeping bags or something, while I do that, please continue to do that.
Thank you so much, Jesse, for that generous offer. Everybody make sure you get to rudetech.com, okay? And go get that stuff. Get that 10% off.
Yes,
and get that
knobs, KNOBS.
That is an awesome pedal you need to get your hands on for sure. And you know, and then go back and check out his other new stuff that's coming out. Tony Baloney, where can people find you?
You can go to tonybaloney.com. No, you can't. It doesn't exist. It should exist. Maybe I'll have to check that. Let me check that domain.
Yeah, I would.
Go over to pick. Oh, damn you. Go over to pickguardian.com and you can see some of the things that I do and offer for sale. If there's something there that you don't see or you need or you want to discuss, shoot me an email. We will get you taken care of. Some of the projects we talk about are listed on my Instagram account, which is pickguardian and the number 1.
I like it. Jared, where can people find you?
Yes. Go to BrandonWanPickups.com. Check out the stuff I got going on. You can get all sorts of cool stuff like old-looking pickups that are new. New-looking pickups that are new. You could get rewinds from me, $30 a coil, fast turnaround time. Go to Instagram and look at all the cool old-timey rewinds that I've done. And if you have any questions, get a hold of me either Instagram or email or whatever. Awesome. I will answer.
Awesome. By the way, I did just actually go try to buy TonyBaloney.com, but it's taken.
I was going to try, but my keyboard is so loud. I was like, God,
the loudest keyboard known to man.
All right. You can drop me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com, or DM me on Instagram. And I, too, am extremely active there. So I'm happy to answer stuff. I would love to hear anything you have to say that I can then share to my fellow knobs, including your just, hey, how you doing? Salutations, what have you. And also your would you rathers. We're running a little light on the would you rathers, guys. I know you have them, so just send them, okay?
Send them, please.
We want to thank Jesse from Rude Tech for hanging out with us, and door is always open to you now, my friend. And we look forward to hearing about what you're producing in the near future. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I love the show.
Yeah. Awesome.
Great. We love it. It was good. We had a lot of fun doing this one.
We did.
Yep.
And playing your pedal. Awesome pedal. So, hey, everybody, have a great guitar week and subscribe.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's going to be a big disappointment.
Way to sell it.
Put a wire on it and then tape the wire to your finger.
No, Chicago. What? Chicago? Tony's bringing the sizzle.
Chicago.
I had to learn that on trumpet.
Well, yeah, that's Tony. Hey, Tony.
I'm Jesse.
When you sing the 80s garbage, sure. I'm talking early 70s, Terry Cat.
Shut it, Tony.
Can you adjust your input there, brother?
And that's just, what's his name alone. That's his solo career.
You're dreaming.
You've been dreaming now.
All right.
Check. Sibilance.
How am I now?
That's better.
Uh,
All right.
That was Karate Kid 2, baby.
We did it all for the glory. Muff.
The either or the would you rather is going to be, would you rather have 25 or 6-4? Come on. What do you think, guys? Got to pick.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.